Mazzola goes out back. Oh, okay, out back.
He's
when
going
he
to
realizes
get a steak and a bloomin' onion.
Hey, do you wanna see that movie? Do you wanna see that movie? Do you wanna see that movie?
Showtime. Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Delynn.
Relax, gentlemen. She's old, but she'll hold.
Oh, yes, she is. And joining us again, the podcaster, or the fully packed bong, who used to flip pancakes on a nuclear submarine, Pat.
Just put a patch on it. They'll fix it when we get back.
Okay. Today we will be discussing the 2000 action movie U-571, written by Jonathan Mostow, Sam Montgomery, and David Ayer, and directed by Jonathan Mostow. It stars Matthew McConaughey. All right. Bon Jovi, living on his hair. Bill Paxton and Harvey Keitel, the Bad Lieutenant. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. And now it's time for another installment of Disaster Piece Theater. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Disaster Piece Theater, where me and my two co-hosts will act out one scene from the movie that we are reviewing for you this evening. So please, sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Alright, quiet on the set.
Camera speed. Sound production, take one.
Action.
How deep will this go?
She'll go all the way to the bottom if you don't stop it.
Cut!
Okay.
God.
And now it is time for Dez's 3 fun and 1 fake fact, where it will be up to my two co-hosts to figure out which fact is total bullshit.
Can I ask a question before we start?
Oh, please do.
How is it 3 fun and 1 fake fact, and then you have 5 facts?
All right, so
I'm trying to do the math over here, and it's not adding up.
The math
So-
is not mathing.
okay, so I changed that a week ago, and I wanted to see how long it would take for somebody to figure it out. Nice job, Delynn. So it's just been changed. It's now correct. Here we go.
Oh,
And if
God,
you
help
buy
us.
that, I've got a bridge to sell you.
How much?
Cheap. All right. Fact number 1. For authenticity, the stage crew made a working submarine for filming in the Mediterranean off of Malta. During production, an American warship appeared and was so taken by the Nazi submarine, they sent an armed team to board it. Number 2. The Enigma machine used in the movie was a genuine Enigma machine and not a prop. It was obtained from a collector for use in the movie. Number 3. In reality, the submarine U-571 was never captured. The submarines U-559 and U-110 and 90210 were the ones captured with the code books. I just threw in 90210
No shit.
for humor. Number 4, when given the order to launch a torpedo aboard a U.S. Navy submarine, the command is shoot, not fire. The second word is reserved for actual fires aboard the boat and never for torpedoes. And number 5, John Bon Jovi originally auditioned for the role of Lieutenant Andrew Tyler, but when Matthew McConaughey agreed to do the movie, the role of Lieutenant Emmett was created specifically for John Bon Jovi. Delynn, which fact do you think is total bullshit?
Number 5.
And Pat.
Number 4.
Number 4. Dude, you should be ashamed of yourself. You served
No.
on a submarine. What's wrong
I
with
don't
you?
know where you're getting from your information from, but I call bullshit.
No, that's true. That's true.
All right.
Let's see. We'll clear this up right now. Just a little Recon? I don't know how to work my phone.
What a shock.
Oh God, here we
Okay,
go.
On a submarine, what is the command for shooting a torpedo?
According to Quora, match bearing and shoot is the command to launch a torpedo.
There you go. So shoot, not fire. Fire is reserved for an actual fire. Okay. I would have thought that would be something they would have told you before stepping on board the submarine, Pat, but who knows? Okay. Perhaps you were smoking a bong before training. With a budget. So Delynn, you got it right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a budget of 62.
Nobody was putting John Bon Jovi in the lead role. Come on now.
I think he could have handled it, even though he had 4 words in this movie.
I don't think he could have.
With a budget of $62 million and a box office gross of $127 million, this was considered a moderate to strong success. We do a couple of opening thoughts on this one. Pat, have you seen this movie before preparing for the podcast?
I have not.
Okay. And, just without getting into it, did you enjoy it?
Very much. It was very entertaining.
And Delynn, had you seen the movie before preparing for the podcast?
I had never seen it before. Yeah, like I said to you earlier, I am on the fence about whether I enjoyed it or not. Like, yeah, it's a popcorn movie, but there's parts of it that I didn't really care for, and there was parts that were kind of cool. As I'm sure I will mention again at some point during this podcast, there was way too little John Bon Jovi. Like,
Yeah,
I was all hyped.
I wanted a little more anchovy underwater.
Yeah, like I wanted a little bit more living on a submarine.
Yeah, living on a submarine.
God.
Yeah, I've seen this movie before. I was excited to do it. I actually brought it up because I like doing submarine movies with Pat because he knows a lot about submarines, so it makes it fun. Yeah, like you said, nice popcorn, Sunday afternoon movie. Don't make it think too hard. Nice quick pacing. It's fun. Enjoyed it. Like watching an episode. Yeah, like watching an episode of fucking Hogan's Heroes. It was fucking great.
There's only a couple of scenes that I tore apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
But overall, it was very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, there's plenty to fucking not like here, but I mean, it's not that kind. It's not saving. Go ahead. Fucking Pat just sunk me with his verbal torpedo. I surrender. Speak.
The one thing I did know when researching this movie is there was a lot that was not accurate, both historical and technical.
Which leads me to wonder why it didn't have to be an Enigma machine. I mean, it could have been anything. It could have been the plans for a special new, supersonic, fucking whatever, rocket or something.
Dude, this isn't Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, they could have set this more fantasy and saved themselves a huge headache. Because like you were alluding to, I mean, the, the Parliament, went nuts and denounced this movie and was like, this is bullshit. You're stealing fucking valor from our fucking Navy. We did it first. And it's all true. I mean.
Yeah, they were very pissed off. Yeah,
they had every reason to be. I mean, you were taking credit for something we didn't do. So again, I kind of wish that they had set this more in fantasy, and it might have even been more fun if they had invented some new secret weapon that had been developed by the Nazis and they were going to, take it over. I mean, everybody knows that Hitler was into the occult and alien technology, and supposedly he had a crashed spaceship. Like, how fun would that have been? And then at the end, maybe we get a reveal of, they don't know what they're going to take off this boat. They just know it's could change the course of the war. And, turns out it's some alien technology and it's in this box. And maybe at the end, we even get a reveal kind of like the end of Pulp Fiction, where they open the box and everyone's like, oh my God. And we see a green glow on their faces. And we have to be left to our own devices to imagine what could be in the box. So, yeah. After 70 episodes, I'm ready to write a fucking movie.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
Where
I
the hell
know.
did that come from?
It's a lot.
Wow.
It's a
That was
lot.
a lot. It was a lot.
Let's do
Let's
this.
get, let's get back to the movie and stop with the fantasy.
Okay, Delynn,
Holy shit.
give us a synopsis.
You got it. All right. 4 and 1, 3 and 1, fun fakes facts. Good Christ. I'm like,
She ain't
hold
letting
the
that go.
phone. A 3 and 4, and I'm like, no. Okay. So when a German U-571 submarine with a sophisticated Enigma machine on board is disabled during a World War II battle at sea, the Allies send an American Navy force led by Lieutenant Andrew Tyler to retrieve it for study. Boarding the German ship, the Americans cover as a rescue force is quickly blown. Forced to take the crew hostage, the Americans lay their explosives and prepare to destroy the German vessel before the Nazis can send naval backup. But even that plan falls apart. The remaining Americans must survive while holding on to the Enigma machine.
It's funny what was considered a sophisticated machine in the 40s. Thing looks like an old typewriter.
So I don't know if, do you understand what Enigma machine is?
It's a decoder.
Well, kind of. It's like you type in the message and it's automatically like making a code, and you can't understand that code unless you have a machine and can put it through the machine and it will spit out the correct thing to you. So
I get it, but I'm guessing like the Navy has sophisticated machines to probably make that thing look like an old typewriter. Is what I'm saying.
now, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, of
Yeah,
course.
We've come quite a ways since the 40s.
You could actually see the first time they were using it. I think it was early in the movie. As he was pressing one key with a letter on it,
Yeah.
another key was lighting up.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Very
I'm
cool.
like, oh, I like the way they did that. That was very informative. You could tell right away what he was doing was cryptic.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, you think about it, how far we've come just since like the 90s. I mean, even in like the mid to late 90s, even early 2000s, I mean, no one was using cell phones really. And if you were, they were little shit flip phones that nobody even looked at. You didn't even want to use it. I mean,
Honey, what are you going to use a phone for?
yeah, I mean, the internet was nothing. Just
Yeah, so
nothing.
this is a good story. I'm going to tell the story real quick.
Go ahead, tell it. It's funny.
So years back, I ordered us smartphones, and it was
Yes.
our very first smartphones. We had never had a smartphone before. We had the Nokia brick and stuff like that. We had not had smartphones. And my friend, Michelle, had a BlackBerry, and it was the coolest fucking thing ever because she was emailing and shit on it. I'm like, she can read her email on her phone. I was like, that's the most amazing thing ever. I need to have something like that.
And what year was this?
It was a long time ago. It was back when we had just moved into this condo. So
2000s, though. Easy.
yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So she had the cool BlackBerry. I was like, that's the coolest shit ever. She can answer an email no matter where she is. I'm like, I need to get one of those. But BlackBerry was very expensive. So we waited and waited and waited. And eventually I was like, that's it. I'm getting us smartphones, because the smartphones had kind of come into their own. And they were like the first couple of Galaxies had come out. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get one. So I order from Amazon, and I'm waiting on tender hooks for this thing to show up, for the box to show up. And it like gets delayed, and it's not showing up.
No, first of all, she asked me if I wanted one too. She was going to order two. And I said, no. I go, what do you need a phone for? I'm like, we have a phone. It's plugged into the wall. I'm like, we have a phone plugged into the wall. And I'm like, and I've got this little thing. And it looked like the communicator from Star Trek. like you literally flip it open. And it's can you hear me? Like it did nothing. So take it from there. So I'm like, no, you order one. I don't need one of these gadgets. One of these new gadgets.
But I had gotten a great deal, so I ordered two. And I was so excited for these things to show up. And it kept getting delayed. And
she didn't order two. She didn't order two. She ordered one. No, you ordered one.
Two.
And when I saw it, I had a fit and made you order a second one, is what happened.
That's not true.
I would like to throw the red flag. I want to throw the red flag here.
I'm throwing the red flag because I ordered two.
You had a fit.
Do you have the receipt?
I probably do, because it was through Amazon. So I could probably look back in my Amazon and figure it out. But anyways, he goes, what are you going to use a phone for? I don't need that. What are you going to use a phone for? And then they showed up, and he hasn't put it down since.
That's not true.
This kid has literally lived with a phone in his hand since that day.
Dude, this is coming from someone that looks like the phone is a fucking tumor growing on her hand.
No. I put the phone down and walk. Look at it. Like, literally, he has it in his hand right now.
Did Delynn order 2 phones? Did Delynn order 2 phones?
Well,
Yes, I
Google
did.
knows everything.
I did.
It doesn't
She
know.
doesn't know.
It
doesn't know.
doesn't know.
No, but I'm telling you, this is what happened. And he has not put that thing down. And so the running joke for years was, "What are you going to use a phone for? Why would I use a smartphone? What are you going to use that for?" I literally have not seen this kid without his phone in 20 years.
I didn't realize it was a fully functioning computer, okay?
Here's a good example of how far back and this goes. You said 2000. 2000 was when I got my first computer.
Yeah, no, this wasn't 2000.
Broadband was just starting out, and it was, and Comcast went by the Roadrunner, if you remember that.
Yeah.
This
That
was,
was-
we moved here of what, 2004, 2005?
No. So, no, because we got married in 2003. We lived in our house there for 3 years, at least 3 or almost 4 years there. So that would have been 2006. So we moved here probably around 2007 or 2008.
Okay, so that was we got the phone shortly after we moved here. So
Yeah,
maybe
a year.
2010.
Yeah, about 2010, I would say.
Okay.
Which is still a long time. It's still like almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to talk about the movie now or? Okay. Scene breakdown. Here we go. And if listeners, if you want to hear something fucking hilarious, okay? So this week on Breaking Vinyl, the music podcast I do, one of the hosts is an English teacher. Huge brain. As smart as Delynn or smarter. This kid is fucking the original E.T., the OG E.T. I challenged him to a spelling bee. Dude, it is fucking... It'll make you cry laughing if you listen to it. And spoiler alert, I won't even tell you who won. Just go listen to it. It's about 3 minutes into the podcast. It'll be worth your fucking time to go listen to this.
It will be.
Funny.
It's very funny.
Okay. Scene breakdown. German boat U-571 is in the waters off the Atlantic Ocean, stalking and sinking Allied ships. A British destroyer is able to pinpoint their location and drop depth charges on it, disabling them. The German crew sent word to Berlin that they are disabled and need help. Meanwhile, an American submarine naval crew is on leave, celebrating one of their officers' weddings. Lieutenant Tyler shows up at the wedding, salty as hell, because Lieutenant Commander Dahlgren has denied his bid to get his own command. He demands to know why Dahlgren tells him he's not ready to be the guy to make the tough calls. This tough guy back and forth has to wait, though, because the wedding is interrupted by a band of MPs demanding that all sailors return to port immediately. The crew are taken back to find that the U.S. Navy submarine S-33 has been modified to resemble a German U-boat. They are ordered to load it up and head out, and are taking 2 government men with them for a highly secret mission. So secret that all the cases are labeled explosives. A little obvious there. They are to pose as German come to rescue the disabled U-571, get on board, steal their Enigma machine, decoding device, and sink the sub before returning to port. Okay. Delynn, what do you got on these opening scenes?
So you definitely set up the scene well. You kind of get a feeling for who everybody is and what their jam is. Tyler's all salty. He wants that command post, and he's been denied. And you get the old timer chief, Harvey Keitel, who's giving him the pat on the back and then being like, "Hey, it'll come." And you get to meet John Bon Jovi. Fantastic, love it.
Yeah.
You kind of get a feel for who everybody is, and then of course, like you said, it moves very fast, and I appreciate that. Also, I am a little conflicted because you have the early scenes in the U-boat with the Germans, and you're kind of getting to know these Germans a little bit. I mean, not a ton of character building or anything here, but they go out of their way later to really paint them as bad guys. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, yeah, Germans are bad. The Nazis are bad guys. Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
But why you spend this time like kind of like almost building a little bit of goodwill with them just to have them do some really despicable Nazi-esque crap later is a little confusing to me. But I appreciated it. You still, at least you kind of get to see these people a little bit more as people, you know,
Yeah.
and not just the bad guys.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, it's funny. I mean, because of course now we're able to jump around because I'm in control and this is now whatever. So they don't build the characters of this German crew because they don't matter because none of these guys are going to play any part in the movie. They're just all going to be blown up and killed anyway. But we do get one character that's going to play a big role in the movie, and it's the captain. And it's funny because we're made to want to hate this captain. There's one scene we're going to get to that I thought was completely unnecessary. It didn't need to happen. But at the same time, without the scene, I start to actually like almost admire this captain because let's say that this was flipped and this was a movie that was released in, let's say, Germany. The captain would be a hero. I mean, this is a guy who's willing to give his life for his country. He's been captured. He's banging on the wall of the hull, knowing he's probably going to die for this effort. I mean, he's a German hero. And, you know, so it's all perspective, how you want to look at these characters. But yeah, I really liked it. Pat, what do you think?
I thought the opening scene when the Germans were getting the crap bombed out of them was pretty good. It was realistic. The boat they were on didn't really stand a chance.
No.
And the scene that you both were inferring to, not that we're jumping ahead, but
Jump ahead.
I'd read that scene never really happened. History showed that the Germans did not treat survivors of wrecks the way this movie portrayed them to.
Yeah.
Not unsurprisingly, because it's just cruel.
Dude, it
And-
was
It
stupid.
was, and as
And
I
it's
was
like-
watching,
And I'm sorry, I was just going to say that, you know, the upper echelon of Nazism, you know, they were very cruel people. But when you get boots on the ground, these are just dudes, you know?
And
well,
it's-
that's very true. And as I did research on this, I was surprised. First, that again, the Germans never made a real effort to harm survivors of the ships they shot down. In fact, they were known to give aid, directions, food, sometimes medical aid. The only time that stopped is when a German U-boat carrying refugees under a flag of Red Cross was bombed by the Allies. After that, the Germans said, "That's it, fuck them, help
Right.
no one."
right. And that was our fault.
Yeah.
And that was
So-
our fault, yeah, because we bombed refugees. That's pretty much a fuck you.
Yeah.
So I said to Delynn while we were watching this, I mean, let's just say it's a scene where they fucking shoot up the survivors on a dinghy, basically, for no reason. I said to her, it's unnecessary. I mean, these are Nazi German, you know, soldiers, and we hate them. It's fine. It's like, you know, it's ingrained in us to hate Nazis. I mean, it's as far back as every movie you can think of. Indiana Jones, you don't have to turn them into fucking like murderous monsters that we're gonna shoot innocent, defenseless survivors on a fucking dinghy. You know, like it would have been fine in that scene if they had just tossed out some like supplies and said, row off, we'll fucking send your coordinates and somebody will come for you. I would have been fine with that. It's bad enough. They're not going to bring them on board, whatever. So I could have done without this scene.
Yeah, I mean, I can see
honestly.
not bringing them on board. I mean, they're disabled.
Yeah.
They've got the Enigma machine on board. They can't take these people in. I get
Yeah.
it. But you don't just fill them full of bullets and fucking push the boat off. You don't do
No.
that.
But I
No,
did.
and they tried to justify it by saying that they couldn't leave them alive because they would report
To who?
the U-boat's position. Right, and I was going to say the same thing. These people are out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Who the hell's going to find them before that U-boat disappears?
Nobody.
Seriously?
Yeah, nobody.
It was like Desmond said. It was an unnecessary scene. There
Yeah.
was no need for it in any way.
100%.
trying to make us hate this crew of this submarine. All right, so for me, this is how you open a movie. I mean, this opening shot of the eyeball with the red looking into the fucking
Periscope.
periscope, so good. I thought the movie had a really good vintage World War II look to it. Like maybe if you were watching a movie that was made like, late 60s, early 70s, I thought they did a good job. I mean, it didn't feel like watching Red October or the Steven Seagal one. What is that? Under Siege.
Under
Like
Siege.
it did not have a Hollywood feel to me anyway. It felt like an old school World War II movie, and I really love that.
Yeah, they had a lot of authenticity
Yeah.
with the equipment in the boats.
Yeah, well, not only that, too. I mean, I thought the colors, the way they lighted the scenes, had a really, like, kind of janky, old school, vintage look to it. Instead of
Yeah,
being all
and
crisp and shiny and, bright colors, it looked great.
even the opening scene, like you said, with the eye, and you see the red. The red was the red light that was
Yeah.
in the room, and that's known as rig for red. It's a lighting for it's standard operating procedure when you're in any kind of a conflict or any kind of exercise.
Yep.
It's just rig for red, and the fact that they did that impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought also all of these opening battle scenes just looked great. I thought the destroyer looked great. I thought the depth charges going off looked amazing. And then we get a little exposition on the sub between the Germans, letting us know what the capabilities are left on the sub, like what it can do now after what's happened to it. And they say, we can go down, we can maneuver a little bit, and this is going to come into play a little later in the movie because we understand the rules now of this U-571 sub and what it's capable of for the rest of the movie. So I thought that this was a great opening scene. I mean, it's what you wanted. It didn't drag. It was fun. There was lots of great stuff. And we get to the ball. Again, at the wedding, felt very 40s to me. I mean, nicely done. It almost had a saison, a little nutty saison with it on cheese. It smelled like a fucking one of these Indiana Jones movies. I mean, didn't it kind of have that feel? I thought it looked great.
It had the ambiance of the era
It
that it
did.
was supposed
Yeah,
to be
it kind of
taking
felt
place
a little.
in.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like the beginning of Temple of Doom.
Yes.
And
And
not quite as fancy or flashy, but same idea.
yeah, I mean, they were in the ballpark. And
You could compare that to Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck.
yeah,
Yes.
Same thing.
we get a bunch of exposition here, letting us know that Tyler isn't ready to command a vessel and can't make the tough decisions. I mean, they overdid it here. I mean, I heard it from everybody. And then finally I hear it from Eddie again. Hey, you're over there smoking a cigarette. Come here. I heard about you and, getting passed over and you're not ready to make tough decisions and you're a nice guy. And I was like, all right. I mean, I appreciate it. It's a popcorn movie. I didn't want to have to concentrate, and I didn't have to concentrate because he spelled everything out for me in giant letters, but it was a lot. I want to ask you guys, was it good foreshadowing or was it over the top Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, you're not foreshadowing. You're hitting me over the head with it.
Okay. We find out that Wentz speaks German and actually studied at Brown's University, which, again, it's a nice setup for what's coming later in the movie. But this is a strange character for me, okay, Wentz. He felt to me, throughout this entire movie, like he was way overqualified to just be a grunt on a submarine. He went to Brown's University. He's multilingual. He fucking clearly does not freeze under pressure. He fucking can operate a submarine. He can figure out a German submarine just by looking around. This guy is the fucking officer candidate material all day long. He was too smart for the character. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he is going out of his way to hide all of those things.
Exactly.
But he's not
So-
going to hide that during training. They take all sorts of aptitude tests and stuff. This kid would have been off the charts everywhere. Everywhere.
See, the thing with Wentz is he was kind of singled out of the crew because he was German. His
But nobody
parents
knew.
were German, from Germany.
But nobody
He
knew
could-
that.
Right. Well, that's the whole point. He is trying to that Delynn was making. He's hiding the fact that he speaks German, that he is German. He's hiding all of that because he doesn't want the crew to hate him. I think those were the words he used.
Right.
But his character was necessary, as well as Wentz. No, that was the wrong guy. That was him. Kirsch. You needed those two guys. Kirsch because he was the one running the show, and you needed Wentz because he spoke German. And the
Right.
only way they figured out that German U-boat when it was necessary was because both of them could read, write, and speak German.
Yes.
If
Right.
not for those two, I mean, Wentz was he was a submariner. He knows submarines. They all go through training to learn a basic knowledge of all systems. You
Right.
need that because it's a tight-knit community. That tight-knit community was actually well portrayed when all leaves were canceled, and
Yep.
half a dozen of the crew, the enlisted, were all surrounding what's his name, Dahlgren, Lieutenant
Yes.
Dahlgren. They were his friends. They were personal with him. You don't see that kind of interaction on a surface ship because you're talking a difference between 50 crew to 300 crew.
Right.
The officers do not intermingle like that with enlisted, except in a submarine world.
Cool. So there's a little back and forth between Tyler and Eddie the cook before they leave too, and I picked up on this. So Eddie says to Tyler, "I hear things working in the kitchen. I hear things that other people don't hear," and
that's
Tyler
true.
kind of puts that in his back pocket. I mean, you worked in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
On the submarine when you served, you were a cook.
The sub I was on, the galley, obviously was next to the mess deck, but the mess deck in a submarine was often used for training, and you could hear all kinds of things. Also, cooks worked in the wardroom where the officers are, and the wardroom mess cook, they hear conversation all the time. All the
Okay.
time.
I also think that his race came into play because he does say, when you're seen but you're not seen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
his race was coming into play. People were saying things in front of him because they figure he's a black man and he can't do anything with this information.
He's unimportant.
So
Right.
he's invisible even though he's there. He's the
Right.
cook and he's a black man. So they're basically looking right past him and not
Yes.
taking him into account. So he hears a lot of things because people feel comfortable speaking in front of him because he's invisible.
Yes. So I thought they missed an opportunity here because as soon as they said that, doing a movie podcast, I'm always looking for little things like this. Is this going to pay
Breadcrumbs.
off later in the movie? I just assume it's going to. This never comes back in the movie, and it was a huge mistake. I wish that at one point Tyler would have had to gone to him, or he had gone to Tyler and been like, listen, I heard this, they're planning this, and this would have paid off, but it never did. So we get Coonan, okay? We're going to meet him for the first time. This is Sid from An Officer and a Gentleman. I love this actor. And I really also love the actor that plays Wentz. Both great actors, in my opinion. His luggage is marked explosives. I laughed out loud when I saw that. It's like, I get it. Okay, so he's here to blow shit up. Okay, perfect.
There you go. That's
All right,
pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. During a storm, the S-33 comes across the U-571 and sends a boarding party over. It is not exactly smooth sailing, as they are figuring out pretty quickly, and a gunfight ensues. Eventually, they secure the ship and transport the remaining German crew to the other ship. However, as they are preparing to take the Enigma back to the disguised American ship, a torpedo blows it and all its inhabitants up. Okay. It's the German resupply submarine, and they have sued out.
Sus.
they have
Sus.
they have sussed out what
Sued. Pat, he said sued for sussed.
what the Americans were doing. Dahlgren, dying in the water, gives his last command as captain and orders his remaining men on the captured U-boat to submerge. Lieutenant Tyler takes command of the enemy U-boat and dives to engage the resupply sub. After a tense battle, they are victorious, blowing up the other sub. Then they return to the surface and check for any more survivors. They find Eddie floating in the water and alive. I call bullshit. And one of the German prisoners, who are they unaware of, is the captain, Wasner. Okay, so that might have been a little confusing, but
Wow.
you get it. You get
fucking butchered that shit.
Oh, whatever. Delynn, what do you got?
So
Chair.
this is the scene where we lose John Bon Jovi.
Oh,
Gone too soon. I mean, let's be honest with you. I'm watching this movie, and the scene happens, and they all get onto the ship and they fight the other ship, and I'm like, "Where's John Bon Jovi? Where's what happened to him? Where is he?" Well, hold on. So I literally had to back up and be like, I think this is him getting blown away. Like, he just disappears. Like, whoop, just gone.
You saw the body go and the camera that he was holding. That's what made me realize.
But
that's what happened to him.
Yeah, but it's like it was so fast and nobody says anything about it. So I was like, I literally watched the movie for like another 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, "Where's Bon Jovi? What happened to him?" So
yeah.
It was a little, and Des has he had filled me in after I brought this up to him. So go ahead, honey.
So what happened was they got an R rating and they wanted a PG rating, and this scene, they had shot some really great scenes, some kills, and one of them was Bon Jovi, and he got his head blown off, and they had a close-up of his fucking head floating in the water.
Nice.
And they were like, "No, this isn't. You're not getting this. This is rated R if you're going to keep these shots." And
they would not allow the beheading.
No, there were a few other good kill shots and some gory scenes that they had to cut from this sequence, which I don't know, man. I kind of wish they had kept it. I mean, how many fucking 13-year-olds want to see this movie? Come on. Give me the R rating. I want to see Bon Jovi without a head.
I just would have liked to have like there was. I don't even think there was any point where like somebody looked at Tyler and said Emmett, and he said no, like as in he's gone. Like it just
that's it. He's just gone.
He was just gone, and that's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's basically, they're like, if you don't see him anymore, they died in the fucking shootout. Okay, whatever. Pat, what do you got on these scenes? How interesting. Okay.
Yes. No, I've lost track listening to you go off track so many times. I lose track of where the hell we are.
Okay. So for me, the sub looked great inside and out. One thing I noticed about these submarines, okay, because I've seen other submarine movies like The Hunt for Red October. Pat, you're familiar with this movie.
Yes,
the
very
inside
much.
of the sub is like a fucking mall. It's like this glitzy giant bridge that looks like the bridge of a fucking destroyer.
And I'll tell you that the ship for the Red October that was used in Red October, the USS Dallas.
Yes.
The one I was on was very similar to it.
So are they big inside?
Not exactly big. What you see in U-571 is the smallest thing that they ever made for submarines.
Okay.
When I was stationed in San Diego, they had a diesel boat tied up that you could tour on the base. And that thing felt half the size that I was on. And the one I was on is half the size of the ones that are that carry ballistic missiles. Oh. Those are huge.
Okay.
Interesting.
Like when they went on to, in Red October, when they went on to the Red October, that thing was 3 times the size of the ship they left.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, let's talk about how this movie is super claustrophobic.
Yeah, I
And
like.
when the lights go out and then the water starts pouring in,
Oh
I was just
God.
like, nope, nope, nope. I
Yeah.
don't like any of this. I don't. And it was already too claustrophobic to begin with. And then that happened. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now imagine going through a training simulator just like that.
No, thank you.
No
That's
thanks.
something that you have to go through in sub school.
Really?
Yes, they put you in a space that has pipes and tanks, and you learn how to do patches and make pipe patches, and they flood the fucking place. They shut the lights down. All you've got are little emergency lights. We were told all about this, and this is what to expect. And when it came time for us to go, it was broken, and we couldn't.
I was gonna say, Pat, did they make
Every
you cook
one of us,
breakfast?
every one of us were like, "Oh, thank God."
Did they make you cook breakfast while all this was happening? Like, the water's coming in. Flip that egg. Flip that egg. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Un-
He's unbelievable, huh?
Unbelievable.
Piece
Well, I
of
don't know. I
work.
mean, people still have to eat, right?
Fucking believable.
Okay. So Dahlgren gives the rules of the submarine, its capacities, its limitations. That will build the suspense later in the movie. He's basically telling Cochrane, you know, how deep it will go, how deep it shouldn't go, when will it crush. And we get a great line, how deep will it go? Well, she'll go all the way to the bottom if we don't stop her. And we get the mission from Hirsch, and I'm getting excited. I'm thinking this mission's going to be fun. Coonan says he's going to train the crew for combat, but we never get a short montage of him training the crew. We never see nothing of him training this crew. And
Not necessary.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I didn't need it.
No.
Because the takeover of the German sub, it felt rookie. It felt janky. Everybody felt kind of lost on both sides. There was some luck. I mean, it worked for me. I really liked it. I did not want this to feel like a squad of Navy SEALs going on with the red lasers. Like, I didn't want this Hollywood takeover.
They got lucky because it was an ambush.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason that entire attack succeeded was because it was an ambush. They
But
were
there
not
were-
expecting everyone there to be armed, and they were not on guard.
No, but they did have a guy manning the stationary gun. They were armed. They did sniff it out before they got on board. Only one,
Right.
only
But
McConaughey was on board.
the moment he said alarm, that's when the Americans opened up. As soon
it
as
was-
they were found out, that's when the shooting started, and they didn't have a chance.
Yeah, but it was janky on both sides. They had the high ground. They should have been able to fucking, and then with luck, like I said, they could have got that hatch closed one more second. And if they got down there a second quicker, they get that thing locked. So I mean, there was luck involved in taking over that U-571. Bad luck on the German sides, good luck on the American sides. It was janky, and I liked it. This is what it would have felt like in the heat of the moment, on a rough sea, in the dark. It felt real, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Didn't feel like Hollywood bullshit.
Yeah. And I also think that, again, I'm not really well versed in guns and I've never been on a submarine, but I would have to think if you're opening up a hatch and shooting, that bullet's probably ricocheting all over the place.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, like I was thinking to myself, like, they were down there and they were shooting an awful lot. Like, you'd have to think sometimes those bullets are going to ricochet and hit people you don't mean for them to hit.
Well, I think
That's how they got the guy in the conning tower when they reached over the edge.
Yeah.
You didn't see what he was shooting at, but you could see the bullets flying in 15 directions.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is, the scene already happened, but when they're sailing out and they're getting close to their location when they're on the American sub and they uncover that swastika emblem on the submarine, you feel the weight of the mission. You feel the fear of the young crew when they realize, this is happening. Like, we're going to do this.
Yeah,
And
we're pretending to be Germans and this could be big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they realize at this moment they're going to hand-to-hand combat, and it's going to be, some of them aren't going to make it. And I felt it. I thought it was really great.
Most of them don't make it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. After making repairs and restoring power, Tyler decides to route the disabled submarine to the Land's End in Cornwall, England. They are spotted by a German plane, which is unaware that the U-571 has been commandeered by Americans. There is a tense moment between Tyler and Mazzola, who wanted them to shoot.
Back it up.
No, it's fine. Who wanted them to shoot the plane
Leave
out
it
of the
in.
sky.
Leave it in.
Ignoring
Leave it
Tyler's orders, the plane returns to a nearby German destroyer, which sends over a small contingent of sailors. But right before the boat arrives, Tyler gives the order to fire a shot from the deck gun, destroying the German ship's radio room and preventing it from reporting the capture of the German sub and its Enigma machine and code books. The sub dives underneath the German ship, which then begins to drop depth charges to sink the U-571. U-571, already disabled, and the meager repairs Tank was able to do to it have it limping along. But it is really no match for the carpet bombing of the depth charges. I'm not sure this boat would have been able to hold that many depth charges. It seemed like a lot of depth charges.
It went on and on.
Well, that's one thing I saw in the research is they actually only carry like 30,
Yeah,
but they dropped like 80.
yeah, it's fine.
Somebody had counted it when they did the research in Wikipedia. They dropped the ship said they dropped 80 and they can only carry 30. And
I had
this
no
was
problem.
one of the things that I did not like, that I kind of tore apart. If you watch the destroyer drop in the depth charges, it's 2. Then they set the next one, and it's 2. And they set the next one, and it's 2. And there's a distance between each dropping
Yes.
as they're going. There's a scene, the camera's inside the U-571, and it's like 15 or 20 of them are going off at the same fucking time right on top of them. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You just showed me 50 yards from 2 to 2 to 2, and now there's like 15 of them dropping all at the same time. I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me.
It was fun. I literally
It was
wrote, I
fun,
have no
but-
problem with it.
It was too much.
I
It was
loved
too
it.
much.
I loved it. Depth charge, fucking Palooza. I loved it.
They
When
did
it's
do a
kinda
very
going-
good job showing it, though.
Oh,
the
man.
cinematography and the underwater scenes
Yeah.
were really good. Even like we didn't even mention the earlier the submarine that they first took out. When they took out the German
Oh,
supply boat, we never
so
even
good.
talked about that scene. And I'm only thinking about it because the German supply boat was supposed to have been the one that was firing on the U-571 after the Americans took control of it.
Yes.
And I never knew that the German supply subs, they didn't have torpedo tubes and they didn't have deck guns. All they had were anti-aircraft guns because they were basically a supply ship. And
Right.
2, this is one of the technical inaccuracies. And 2, their sonar sucked. And there was actually only one German U-boat sunk by a torpedo, and it was dropped from a plane.
Yes.
That's something you don't even think about. But when I
Yeah.
saw this scene, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because
Yeah.
when the U-571, one of the 4 struck the conning tower of that sub, that was fucking awesome, man.
Really good. Really good.
Great,
Ah.
great explosions for Hollywood.
All right. So Captain Wasner is able to attack and knock out Tank and begins to sabotage the ship as much as he can. Mazzola goes out back to find out what? Mazzola goes out back. Oh, okay, out back to find out what is happening and attacks Wasner.
He's
when
going
he
to
realizes
get a steak and a blooming onion.
Oh, baby, that's a hot one.
Oh, when he realizes
That's your
he's
intro.
done,
That's your
He-
intro.
takes out 2 shots before taking the man down. But before he can kill him, Wasner shoots again and Mazzola dies. Eddie arrives with a rifle on Wasner and they tie him up and tuck him in a bunk. Okay.
Wow.
Man.
Dude, I hate to say it, but you're just dumb as dog shit, huh?
Okay, fuck you. I'm street smart.
Yeah, but you're just dumb smart.
Oh gosh.
Oh, fuck. So I got questions here.
Oh, back.
What is going on with the whispering? So this thing's got diesel engines. It sounds like a fucking dump truck, but they're like, okay, everybody be quiet. We're gonna whisper. Like, the whispering's stupid. I don't even think. I mean, no. Listen, not stupid. I loved it. Builds suspense. It's really great. It works for the movie. But one, I don't think they had the technology to hear people whispering on a submarine at Fathom at this point in time.
Not
And
whispering,
two,
but talking. They would.
I don't think so. Not back then.
If the screws, no, well, the Germans couldn't, but the Brits could. At the time, German sonar was nowhere near as advanced as the U.S. and the Allied sonar.
Right, but you're whispering, and the boat sounds like a fucking a '69 Camaro going down a fucking dirt road. I mean, it's loud.
But the ship is not running. When you're trying to run silently, you've turned the ship off.
Yeah, but they
right?
whisper and then they turn it on, and it was weird. I don't know. I was thinking
Well, see, that's the one thing that I wasn't happy about when it came to the diesel sub and the U-571. The only thing that makes more sense is in the movie Periscope Down with Kelsey Grammer, they had a diesel sub. When you run a diesel sub on batteries, it's almost incredibly silent. You don't hear the engines, obviously. You don't even hear the screw turning. It's
Wow.
too quiet.
shit.
There's no way they're going to track him. And as the destroyer is chasing down U-571, it's like, how the fuck are they following them? One, they're throwing depth charges out.
Right.
You're not hearing a goddamn thing
Right.
of that explosion while those depth charges are being dropped. The
True.
only thing you do is you set off a row of depth charges. They go off. You stop and you listen. Because if you're going to hear anything, it's going to be when the fucking bombs aren't going off.
Right.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like when you're putting down depth charges, you're putting them in the water and hoping for the best. You know,
Right.
like there's 360 degrees around you that sub could have gone in. Now, granted, it's got a certain amount of turning radius, and you have a general idea of where it was headed, but you're hoping to hit this needle in a haystack. You know,
Blanketing an area.
Yeah, there's too many things about these depth charge scenes that I just didn't like. Being a submariner, I do have a basic understanding of hydrophones and sonar. And there's no way that destroyer is going to be able to track that submarine the way it did the entire time it was dropping depth charges. It doesn't know where the fuck it is. It can't hear a goddamn thing when those depth charges are going off.
right?
Right.
The only time that it seemed like standard protocol that I was familiar with is when they tried to the deception of I might be getting ahead.
It's okay.
No,
Yeah, it's coming up.
yeah, it's coming up. But at one point in the future, they actually set a decoy,
Yes.
and the destroyer actually does stop, and
Yeah.
it stopped for a reason. And the sonarman explains that to you. And that I was happy to hear. I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. By the way, the sonarman who played, what's his name? Wentz,
When
Yeah.
also in Event Horizon.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So many movies. He's in Kurt Douglas in I can't remember the name of it, but it's a good movie. Kurt Douglas is driving across country with his wife, and the car breaks down, and yeah, he's part of this crew of guys that like I don't know, whatever.
yeah, whatever.
How exciting.
So, Mr. So I wanted to say, going on to the sub when they were doing the boarding party, Mr. Hirsch totally freezes.
Oh, God,
He's-
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to speak. He doesn't. Who steps up and saves the day?
Wentz saved his
Wentz.
ass.
Wentz. And Wentz is just awesome. The guy's great. And then when they get on the sub, They're clueless. Who saves the day again?
Wentz.
Wentz.
Yeah.
Wentz is the man. Wentz is the unsung hero of this fucking movie.
Yeah. Also, let's talk about Mazzola for a second. So Mazzola's the dude
Hated
that's yeah, like he's the dude that's up on the top, and he's bucking Tyler the entire time. He's up
Yeah.
on the top saying, "Shoot him, shoot that plane, shoot that plane, shoot that plane." And Tyler's like, "Don't you dare shoot that plane! It's going to tell them that we're antagonistic. Like, no, do
Right.
not shoot the plane." And he, punches him in the face.
Yep.
But he does kind of save the day by at least stopping Wasner from what he was up to.
Yes.
And
True, but he was a
he
dick.
dies, and he's a total dick. And he dies, and they end up sending his body out wearing a life jacket so that it will go up to the surface, and the destroyer will see it,
yeah.
and it will make them stop and be like, "Oh, okay, did we get them?" Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the decoy worked for a short time.
I
just thought it was interesting that they used him for that. I thought that was actually very clever, because the guy's like, "That's our buddy, and you're going to just send him out like trash."
And I like that line with the trash. He says, he goes, his body's going to save our lives.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah. And
It
it's,
did give them the advantage they needed for a short time. They just needed a few seconds to put some distance between themselves.
Yes.
Yes. And I love how they are now slowly building up the tough decisions that Tyler's going to have to make. So they foreshadow this in the beginning of the movie. And each decision he makes is tougher. Do I let the captain go? The captain needs me. It's the captain of the crew right now. Either we dive or we save the captain and then dive. He lets the captain go. Tough decision number one. Now he's, going to have to put his friend into a tube and send him out with the trash to save the crew. Tough number two. And of course, we're going to get the ultimate tough decision coming up, where he has to pick between two friends basically to die. Yeah. So
and you can see it in his face too. When that kid went to carry out the plan, the camera did a close up right on his face and his eyes. You can see it. And that's the first thing you come to when you see that scene. There's the decision that the captain, Bill Paxton, played, was talking about when it came to making life or death decisions.
Yes.
I loved it. So now we're going to need a new captain. And this is where, it's going to be Tyler. And if I'm on that crew, just like the dick, I'm like, I want Chief. I'm going to Chief and be like, Chief, come on. Fucking no Matthew McConaughey. All right. I want you. But Chief is awesome. So it's Chief that gives Tyler his authority. And he does this by telling the crew, you have to follow the line of command here. Doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter who you think is more qualified, this is the captain now. And by him saying that, he gives Tyler the authority. And he gives him his respect with that crew. I loved Harvey Keitel here. And then, after that, he's going to take Tyler aside. And he's going to give him the talk after giving the crew the talk. He's going to say, dude, these guys are looking up to you now. And if you have to have all the answers.
Yeah,
even
you
if
can
you
never
don't.
say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't say, I don't know.
True.
Yeah.
And I was like I thought that was interesting. And I also thought it was interesting that he's looking at pictures of German, people that have to do with the Army and the Navy over there. And it was supposed to be that he saw Wasner in a commander's uniform and understood that that's who it was. But for some reason, they took it out. And I'm kind of disappointed that they did.
Really?
I read that was it was supposed, like initially it was written that he saw the picture of him and realized he was the captain.
Interesting.
But for some reason they took it out, whether it just it was a part that they didn't need or what.
Maybe it was necessary for the scene that comes up that the German captain plays. Because
there were a couple. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because if it's found out that he's a captain, he's going to be a hell of a lot more secure than what he was.
Yeah.
He should have been. All right. So that's my point.
Okay.
So
you said this.
There's a couple of things that are said in the movie. One, they say that the crew can't be captured. They can't. They know too much. They'll be tortured. They'll be interrogated. Secrets will get out. So basically, Tyler tells the crew, either we succeed or we die. There's no being captured here. And so their lives are not worth as much as the mission. Their lives are not worth as much as the information. So they're going to die for this. But yet this enemy they've taken on board their ship, who's already already proven to be not cooperative. He's not going to help them fix the boat. There's no reason to keep him on board. Now, all he can do is cause trouble. I know it's not humanitarian. He has to be killed. He's the enemy. He's not cooperating. If your crew's going to die to make this mission succeed, then this enemy has to die because he is now putting this in jeopardy. You gotta kill him. That's it. And they don't. And it costs them because he is now going to give their position away. And at the end of the movie, they have to ditch this submarine with the Enigma, and they're going to get on this rubber raft. And it's like, what happens if the first boat that fucking sees them is a German boat? What are they going to do? All fucking hold their breath and die? No, you're fucked. So there were a couple little plot holes like that I didn't understand. All right. Tyler attempts to trick the destroyer into stopping its attack by ejecting debris and Mazzolla's corpse out of a torpedo tube, faking their own destruction. This was actually, I don't know the name of the movie. I did read this, that a lot of this movie was actually stolen from an older submarine movie. Delynn, why don't you quietly check that on the Google machine while I continue?
Machine.
The German destroyer continues dropping jet charges on the U-571, hiding at below 600 feet, 180 meters. Is damaged by the high water pressure. Control of the main ballast tank is lost, and the ship ascends uncontrollably to the bottom of the sea. Tyler orders crewman Trigger to submerge himself into the bilge underwater to repressurize the torpedo tubes.
The bilge.
Yes, Trigger uses an air hose to enter the flooded compartment. He closes the air valve to the torpedo tubes, but a second leak is broken. The valve second leak and broken valve are found, which Trigger can't reach. U-571 surfaces, unable to fire its last torpedo. The destroyer fires on the ship, which is heavily damaged and begins to flood. The first hit causes pipes to collapse, pinning Trigger's leg. After he has left the air hose behind, unable to return back, he reaches for the valve and closes it before he presumably dies, even though this character isn't worth the death shot. The second the pressure is available, Tyler orders tank to fire the final torpedo, which he does. The German destroyer is destroyed. As the crew sighs and relief. Tank reports Trigger's death to U-572. No, tank reports Trigger's death. U-571 has taken severe damage and will not remain afloat for long. The crew abandons ship with the Enigma in their possession. The crew watch U-571 as the ship slips beneath the waves, floating aboard an inflatable lifeboat. They are eventually rescued by the U.S. Navy PBY Catalina flying boat.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a train wreck.
Just like that. Just like that. That's how it all happened. So.
How accurate.
Let's talk about the end of the movie. So Tyler comes up with another plan. He's going to bomb the radar. I love it. Very unlikely, but it works.
Radio, not radar.
Whatever. Tons of suspension. Tons of drama.
Suspension? What? It's a car? Is it a car?
So suspension, like suspension. I'm suspended.
No, suspense.
Oh
Suspension.
my God, help us. Oh my God.
Suspension.
Were there too many depth charges? Yes. Did it bother me? No. Was I confused by the whispering combined with the noisy diesel engines? Yes. Did it bother me? No. Did the Germans have tech to hear in a submarine at that depth? No. Did it bother me? No. The sub going under the destroyer? Great. Loved it. Taking the sub to unthinkable depths? Perfect. Loved it. And then Tyler finally gives us final Hail Mary plan. And it's a good one.
Harry Mary.
So this final shot, this is Luke firing into the Death Star. The depth See what I did there? The depth star. Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done.
overtime.
Pat, final final thoughts on these scenes. What do you got on these last scenes?
Everything. The only thing I didn't like about it was one of those depth charge scenes where like 15, 20 depth charges hit them all at once in the same spot. It's the
Yeah,
only
we
thing I
went through
didn't like
this.
about it. Everything else was great. When it was taking on water and sinking below its crush depth, I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to be good.
No.
And then all the seals start going. They start taking on water. And I thought I'd throw in a little history. We lost two early submarines early in our history. The Scorpion was one of them. I can't remember the name of the other one. They went down with all hands lost because they took on too much water and could not surface.
Right.
From that point on, a system was developed called the emergency blow system, where high pressure air tanks were on a line separate from the normal way you would blow air into the ballast tanks.
Right.
For the emergency, that when nothing's working, you hit those valves and high pressure air floods those tanks and you literally shoot to the surface. Doesn't matter how much water you come on. Have you, Des, you said you saw Red October? Hunt for Red October?
I lied.
Okay. There's a scene in that. It's one of the reasons why it was one of my favorite submarine movie.
Did you like it better than this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that movie had a lot of realism. It was a Tom Clancy movie, and Tom Clancy was very much on detail and accurate detail. And there's a scene where you see the submarine, the nose shoots out of the water like a whale because it did an emergency blow. And I'm watching this U-571 sink deeper and deeper, and I'm like, yeah, they don't got that, and they're fucked.
You know what I thought was interesting? When they were trying to dive fast, they had everybody run to the back of the sub.
The front.
Is that?
Yeah,
in
the beginning of the movie.
Is that legit?
All hands forward. All hands forward.
Do you think that would really make a difference?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're small. They're small. You got to keep that in mind. They're small. They don't have. It was a smart thing to do. When I heard him say that, I'm like, oh wow, that was clever. I never would have thought of doing that. But it's a small ship. All that weight forward, it's just going to tip like
Makes
a teeter
the nose
totter.
go down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
much faster.
All right. Delynn, final thoughts on these final scenes?
Yeah, I mean, I get where this movie's going. It's kind of trying to make it be a feel-good movie, even though honestly it was pretty dark in a couple places. It's definitely little America propaganda.
Oh, it's a lot of America.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we're definitely America, fuck yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, it's America taking fucking credit for fucking
Britain.
another country's
for what the UK had done. So
accomplishments.
yeah,
Prime Minister was not happy about that.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him because sometimes we Americans can get a little handsy with history and try to rewrite it.
And the writer and director is 100% mortified. He said he would never do anything like this again. He apologizes for the decision to this day. And Clinton actually said, because he was president at the time, I believe, he was like, get over it. It's a fucking movie.
They do, however, give credit where credit is due at the end of the movie with the final credits, which was
that already
important.
there? Or was that already there, or was it after
I thought
they
the
released?
same thing. Did they add that after the hullaboo?
It's possible.
I'm sorry, the what? Excuse me?
The hullaboo? Again, go to the Breaking Vinyl podcast and listen to the spelling bee. You won't be disappointed.
I'm betting we'll be listening to it at work tomorrow.
It's
Pat, you have to listen to the spelling bee. It's amazing.
We'll listen to it in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, it is hullabaloo. It is not the hoobaloo.
Nobody fucking cares. I said hullaboo.
Nobody fucking cares.
Oh, I care.
So I am hoping. So when I listen to movie podcasts, I really don't give a fuck about the part where the guy's like, Trigger uses an air hose to enter the fuel compartment. He closes the air valve to the torpedo tubes. It's like, all right, shut the fuck up. Saw the fucking movie. We do that just to kind of,
trigger our memories.
Trigger our memories. And, this is where we're going to talk. So I hope you guys enjoy my readings. I could probably do better and go back and edit it and get them all perfect. But you ask yourself this. Do you really give a fuck? No, you don't.
No.
So deal with it. Better with that. Okay. Let's do some...
What the fuck was that?
Let's do recasting couch.
Okay.
I think we've done it. We've done this. I'll start. I've got a great one. You guys are going to love this. I think it's amazing. I would replace Matthew McConaughey, and I want you to think about this character in the movie Officer and Gentleman, Richard Gere, in that time, because he goes from being an undisciplined candidate to an officer. It shows that growth. And I just think Richard Gere would have brought more I'm looking for a big word here. Caveat?
You're not a big word
That's
guy.
not the word you're
Stop.
looking for.
What word am I looking for?
It's not that.
Okay.
Charisma?
Gravitans.
Charisma, maybe?
No.
No.
Gravitas.
Gravitas. Gravitas. G-R-A-V, A-T, Gravitas, A-I-S-E. Gravitas. Am I close?
I'm betting that it's wrong in so many fucking ways.
Okay.
Oh my
Delynn,
God.
who do you got for the casting couch?
I would replace Harvey Keitel
Mm-hmm.
with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
you
it.
know it. You know
I like
it.
it a lot. I do. Pat, what do you got on the recasting couch?
Oh, Christ.
You put a lot of thought into this, I can tell.
Yeah, no. I got nothing. Let me see what I can pull out of my ass.
Pat, let us down.
Pat.
I couldn't come up with anybody other than, okay, how about we go with this? I'll do Alec Baldwin instead of McConaughey.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I can do that.
I think Alec Baldwin might be a little too he feels a little too like ass kicking commander right off the bat. Like he just demands my respect. Just like he's a thick man.
You
know?
really need to watch Hunt for Red October. If you liked this movie, you might like Red October.
It was okay. Okay.
Said you haven't seen it.
Let's do some. No, this was okay. Let's do some final thoughts and rewatch score. So I had fun watching this movie. I've seen it before. I'll probably watch it again. They made it super easy to follow. It had good characters. It had excellent actors. Story was interesting. And the pacing of the movie was brisk. It didn't bog down. For those reasons, I really enjoyed it. My rewatch score for this is 3.79.
Wow.
It's a box of popcorn on a Sunday afternoon. It's a good World War II movie. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I thought it was way better than average. I mean, it just was. It was a good fucking movie. Great actors. Pat, what do you got?
I was not expecting to be entertained as much as I was. Sometimes movies of that era don't really do much for me. I'm much more of a tech kind of movie, more of an action-packed, shoot him to hell kind of movie. But
I like a
this
good porn.
But I mean, I've seen Hunt for Red October multiple times. There's so much about that movie that is real that I did not think U-571 was going to impress me as much as it did. There was a lot about that movie that was just very real, and I would have to give it a 4.2.
Nice. I thought you were going to like this movie. I thought you would enjoy it. I thought the acting, the actors, and the performances, and a lot of these visuals that they gave me, I thought the underwater shots were spectacular. Didn't you guys think?
The torpedo scenes. That's why I brought back the scene when they were first fired on by the supply boat, and
Yes.
then they fired back.
Yes, and the torpedoes pass each other and skim off the side. Good.
Which was great, because one of the things that I liked is these torpedoes at the time were not anything like the torpedoes of today. These were contact torpedoes. You literally had to hit
it.
the
Yes.
front of the torpedo into the target for it to go off.
Yeah.
I thought the explosions, like when the torpedo took out the destroyer at the end of the movie, I
Yep.
thought was a little overdone. I can
loved
see the front end of that destroyer being destroyed, but to see the explosions rip through the entire length of the sub,
Oh, it was fun.
it was fun to watch, but I called bullshit.
Okay.
That's why it's a
All right.
4.2.
It's a great movie. Delynn, what do you got?
It is a very entertaining movie.
All right. So, I mean, I didn't like it as much as you guys, and I guess it's really not surprising. It probably was not a movie designed for people that are of the feminine
A
persuasion.
weak tit.
Oh, Jesus.
This week's
It's a
hit
guy
will beat your
flick.
ass.
To put it politely, it's a guy flick.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is.
Okay. You know, I mean, I enjoyed certain parts of it, but I'll never watch this again.
Well, that should be a real good rating there.
Oh boy, here we go.
You guys talked me. I had it at like a 1 and change.
Oh, stop it.
I had it at a 1 and change, and you've talked me off the ledge, because you're right. McConaughey did a nice job acting. I'm giving it points for Bon Jovi. I'm giving it points for the scene where they're sitting around the table eating soup and everything is
so
moving.
good. So
That
good.
was that scene might have been my favorite scene in the entire movie.
It was so funny, and I swear to God, it was so inaccurate. I laughed my ass off.
I was going to ask you, Pat, why wouldn't the tables have indentations
They
for bowls
do.
to sit in? Okay.
They don't
Okay.
have indentations like a TV tray.
Okay.
They have covers that are like Naugahyde. It was just like a tablecloth. It was just a cover. And it didn't allow things to slide around on the smooth surface.
Okay.
I saw that scene. I was laughing my ass off.
It was great, though.
It was funny as hell. It was absolutely inaccurate, but it was funny as hell.
Yeah. I liked all the stuff they added just for effect in this, even if it wasn't real. 30 depth charges, that's fine. Delynn, what's your score?
I'm giving it a 2.35.
Yeah, a little below average for you.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
you thought
fair
this
for
was-
a
you-
girl who was watching a submarine movie and really didn't.
But you
Find
thought
it
this
appealing.
movie was below average? You didn't think this was at least average?
Me? Yeah.
Was it an average movie?
No.
She's
Below?
not going to watch it again, dude. She gave it a 2.3. I think that's generous.
Okay.
There you go.
Will you please calculate those scores and tell us?
Yes. So that takes us to a 3.4466666666. And that puts it at number 31 on the list, right underneath Cabin in the Woods and the Craft, and right above Kingpin.
I'm fine with that.
I can live with that.
Is it better than Black Christmas?
No.
Oh, fuck Black Christmas. Okay, fuck Black Christmas and fuck this stupid fucking Asia song that somehow got... All right, I'm not going to go into it. Every week.
God.
Fucking Asia and Black Christmas can both fucking put them all into a fucking torpedo tube and fucking launch them into the ocean.
Move along.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
So, this week on Breaking Vinyl, we broke down... what did I break down?
News.
song? An album?
Huey Lewis in the News.
Huey Lewis and the News, sports. And we had a special guest call in. One Christian Bale. You might know him from Batman or American Psycho. So, yeah. Christian Bale called in. We had a spelling bee. It was an unbelievably fun show. So go check that out if you like, music. We will be back next week with Pat again. And we will be discussing a movie that we have been talking about doing for ages. Unbelievably politically incorrect movie.
Long overdue.
Probably couldn't be made today, but
Long
one that
overdue.
needs to
Probably.
be could not be made today. But this is almost like a little Christmas Eve stocking stuffer, because we're getting ready to start our Christmas season where we're going to be doing 4 Christmas movies in a row, and this one is a little precursor to that. We are going to be doing Trading Places, and I'm looking forward to it. So, until next week, I have got one question for you. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you later.
Copy that.
Okay.